All right, guys, what is a ADU, an accessory dwelling unit? What is it used for? What does it cost? Does it take to get permits, to get started with the ADU? You'll find out here in this video. My name is Christian Medina. I am a Southern California realtor based out of the Inland Empire. And in today's video, we're going to be talking to a personal friend of mine who has been building this ADU. We're going to talk about budgeting, financing, permits, all the good stuff, and knowing about what to do with an ADU. All right, before we get into the interview, please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, and you'll be alerted every time I put up a new video. All right, David, so tell us a little bit who you are, what you do.
My name is David Barrios. I'm a regional manager for a home lending company, and I do invest in properties. I own a few properties that I use for rentals, so a few investment properties, I guess you could say.
Very cool. So what is the name of your company?
I work for a company, the name of the company is OGI Mortgage Bankers. I've been there, I think a little over 10 years. I've been in the industry 20. And then branched off on my own about 10 years ago.
Excellent. All right, so the purpose of today's video is to find out a little bit more about ADUs. And because I know you're actually in the process of building one right now, and I wanted to pick your brain a little. Because right now, I am having a lot of people asking me, what does it take to build an ADU, what the cost is, and I figured, I'll reach out to my buddy here and get a little more details. The first question is, how do you legally build an ADU? What's required?
The first thing you want to always do is go to your city, see what their requirements are, see what permits you're going to need, what permits you'll need to pull. If you're going to try to build this yourself without using a contractor or without using an architect, I don't strongly suggest that. I mean, everyone's a little bit different. It wasn't a good move for me, so I hired an architect and a contract. But you definitely want to start off with the city, see what their requirements are, see if they're allowing it. You also want to check if you're in an HOA area. That's another important thing, because there's residential homes that are just in HOA areas that you need to get permission from. And the city will ask as one of your final items, hey, did you get permission from the HOA? So you definitely just want to start off with the city and see what the requirements are, I guess.
That's a good question about the HOAs, because HOAs, as far as I know, you can't really do anything to the structure, to the front of your house. But the back of the house is a different thing, unless they can see it from the outside, right? And by they, I mean the HOA.
Again, it's a very open question, and it varies with the HOA. Some HOAs are a little bit more lenient than others. Some HOAs are extremely strict. They don't let you do anything. And then you have some HOAs will just say, hey, just ask for permission. And depending on what the build out you're doing is, whether it's the front, back, or visible or not visible, they're all going to have different requirements. But if you are in an HOA area, just like checking with the city, you want to check with them to see if they're going to allow it, because they can stop it. Okay.
So first you said to determine if it's eligible to build the ADU in your area. Second is to obtain the necessary permits. Right, for the area too, right?
Yeah.
Then you would hire a licensed contractor to build the ADU.
Before you get to the contractor, well, I guess you could go straight to the contractor, because some contractors have their own architects. In my case, I found my own architect. It saved me quite a bit of money, and that's where I wanted to go with it, because the architect was able to deal with the city and go back and forth.
Oh, nice.
And work on getting those permits. Time I didn't have, to go and sit in city and at the city for hours on end just to talk to somebody to review something or get a question answered.
True. Okay. And all right. So the next question is going to be, how much room is required to build an ADU?
That's gonna vary. I think that's gonna vary per city and county, maybe even, or state. I want to say for California, it's 150 square feet is going to be the minimum.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the maximum is. I do know that you typically in California want to keep it at about 750 square feet. Reason being is anything above 750 square feet, the fees and the permits get they more than double. even triple in some cases. They get astronomically higher.
It'd be a high cost.
Yes.
Now, in your experience, you live in Ontario. In your experience, what did you have to do in order to get yours built?
In general, like the steps I took,
or the room that you needed for.
I stopped mine at 750 square feet. There's going to be a certain. How do I say this? There's going to be a
space between the primary house.
Between the primary house, between the neighboring houses, between the property line. You know that you have to be with it, that you can't exceed or get too close to.
So in your case, what was yours?
I did 750 square foot. Yeah, I maxed it out.
Okay, very cool. So going back to your ADU right now, I know you're about 90% done. So from start to finish, how long has that taken you?
We are in June right now, so I want to say it's been about a year and 3 months.
A year and 3 months?
A year and 3 months, yeah.
Wow.
The first year, it took almost a year exactly to get the permits. The city's response time isn't always the greatest.
Yeah.
So the architect has to go back and forth with the city with 3 different departments. I believe it's building, licensing, and then another department that they all have to sign off of before you can actually get permission to start building. And then you add in the HOA had to get involved slightly. So it took a year just to get the permits.
Wow.
And from what I understand, I have a couple friends that have built ADUs and they're around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a couple months we've been into it so far doing the actual build out.
So that's something good for you guys to know. If you guys are thinking of building an ADU for the purpose of reselling the property, the markets change, especially right now, markets are changing from week to week, month to month. So we can be booming here for sellers and then we can, at some point can have a decline. So if you're thinking of making a quick move, probably not move forward with the ADU. But if you're thinking long-term, then maybe build it and, in the future, you can sell your property and see where the market's at.
My thoughts on that are, and it's going to depend, everyone's financing is going to be a little bit different, whether they had a finance to build the ADU, whether they had the money set aside. I think if you're going to build the ADU and keep the property and rent that ADU out and keep the property at least 6 to 7 years, that ADU should pay for itself, and at that point now you're going to make a
cash
pretty
flow.
Cash flow, or you're going to if you're going to sell it, you're going to recoup that money.
No, gotcha.
And some.
Yeah, to get the value for it.
Yeah, to get the value for it, But if you think you are going to build it, hey, as soon as it's built, I'm just going to sell it and look at all this money I'm going to make. You're not. I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I
agree with that too. So here's another question for you. You have your ADU right now that's being built. It's 90% completed. You mentioned the plumbing, electrical, water. How does that work? Is it connected with the primary house? Is it separate?
So it's going to vary. Certain cities do certain things. For example, Montclair, I believe, will not let you run separate meters for certain things. I want to say it was the water or the gas. They won't let you run separate meters. Here in Ontario, I can answer that one right now. You can run separate gas, water, and electric meters, or have them all run off of your current property, and just have your current bills are going to go up, obviously. If you're going to have separate meters, I would gauge probably anywhere from 6,000 to 9,000 maybe per meter that you're going to have to pay additional on top of everything else.
All right. So the biggest question I get to is, what is it going to cost? What is the approximate cost of building an ADU from the floor up, or having something that's already like a garage in the back, right? Single car garage, detached, to convert it to ADU.
Oof, that's another. All these questions are very open, and they're all gonna.
But we're gonna talk about
what's costing me.
Yeah, for you. So he's in the city of Ontario. We're gonna be talking about his experience building ADU and what the costs are.
Right. So mine, I'm going through a really good friend of mine. He's a contractor, a childhood friend. He's helped me out with a lot of it. So I want to say, and again, it's going to vary. Even mine's still varying because You can go very inexpensive and just do the bare minimum to get it and rent it out. Typically when on my investment properties and my rentals, I put a little bit more money into it because I'll put in stuff that's gonna last. For example, I can either go laminate flooring or I could go tile flooring. I still like tile flooring. I think it lasts a little bit longer than laminate, and I don't want to have to deal with it later on down the road. So I would say if you're gonna gauge it, probably want to gauge it about, and again, COVID has caused wild times when it comes to material. You used to be able to say, hey, it's $175 a square foot, and that's what contractors are averaging. Now it's like, you know, it's going from $175 a square foot to $250 a square foot. I've seen some contractors want $275 a square foot, and it's gonna depend. I wanna say my ADU personally, it's 750 square foot. I'm probably spending somewhere around 180,000. I wanna say it's gonna be in that when it's all said and done. And again, I'm adding stuff that other people maybe not typically add. For example, I'm putting in a soft water system, tankless water heater, doing the lawn with a drip system, sprinkler system, so that it's less utilities, less maintenance. But these are all things that typically people won't do in their ADUs.
So it all depends on the upgrades, the features that you're adding to the house, right?
Right.
It can increase the price.
Right.
So yours has a kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, in the kitchen. So yeah, if you wanted to go granite countertops, quartz, or just regular tile, that can add up to the cost.
Exactly.
But in your professional opinion, or in your opinion, it's minimum about 180 is what an ADU.
If you're going to build from the ground up, and this is something again I learned because this is the first one I've actually built from the ground up, like not attached to any existing building. It's going to vary. For example, and I'm sorry, I'm veering off the question because there's another important piece that I missed. When you're building from the ground up, you're going to need solar panels. A lot of people don't understand that. I believe that's a California law now.
Yeah.
When you build a structure from the ground up, not attached to your current property. For example, if you're building if you're converting an attached garage to an ADU, you won't need them. But if it's a structure from the ground up, you're going to need solar panels, and that's also going to have to be inspected. It's going, they're going to have to get with the city. Their plans are going to have to pass. That's another delay and another added cost.
So for something like yours, 750 square feet,
right,
what is the cost of the solars on that one?
I got a couple of different prices, and again, I get a little tied up with my current company, so I had to kind of trust my contractor. I was getting quotes for the solar plans, solar plans, and they were all around the same price. But it was hard for me to pull time away from my regular schedule to schedule with the contractor, to schedule with the city for inspection. So I trusted my contractor, and he did a really good job. He found some solar panels. I'm not going to say who they are because I don't know who they are. And I want to say the solar panels cost around $6,000 installed.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, it's a 750 square foot ADU. Yeah. It's not drawing a whole lot of electricity, so that's what they were using.
So just to summarize, if you already have a building, a garage or something that's detached, already built, that came with the house, you don't have to put solar panels. But if you built a building from the floor up, then you would have to put the solar panels per California law.
Right.
Now, in doing that, you don't have to do it for the primary house too, or
no?
Okay.
No, you didn't. I didn't have to do it for the primary house, just the new structure.
So after you have an ADU built on your property, is it something you can rent out?
Yeah, and that might vary depending on where you're at. I know some HOA companies, they tell you you can't rent out certain parts of your house. Those are more for condos, or they ask for no short-term leases. So it really depends on what kind of rent you're going to be doing. But yeah, typically you're doing this so you can rent it out to have a little extra income.
Yeah, but if you're not doing that, then it's what I've seen people do with it is if they have elderly family members that they want to keep close, without invading their privacy, teens, young adults.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he's purchasing a home. He wants to make sure that the backyard is built big enough to build an ADU. The reason he's building the ADU is for his parents. His parents live about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. They're getting a little bit older now, so they want them closer. And it's going to help out with him, with his kids. They want to spend more time with their grandchildren, so it's actually going to work out really well for them.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that for many people. All right. So another question is, how will an ADU affect your insurance policy?
You definitely want to check with your insurance agent on that one. Your policy is going to go up. Some won't cover it. And I know in California right now, homeowners insurance is very, it's very sketchy right now, I guess you could say. A lot of companies aren't writing new policies in California right now for homeowners insurance. So definitely check with your agent, see what the cost is going to be.
Okay. What are some of the things that would prohibit somebody from building an ADU?
You just want to check with the city first, see what the permits are, see what their requirements are. I know for a short period, sometime around COVID, when houses started really going up and there just was a shortage of inventory, California eased up on some of the requirements to build an ADU. I believe that was supposed to end 2023 this year at some point. So if you already got your permits, you're fine. If you're still working on your permits, I don't know if they're extending that. I haven't done any research on it because I don't need any permits right now, but it's something I probably should look into. Best example I can give you is, I believe in some areas, if you were going to convert your garage, one of the requirements is that you still have an existing carport or build a carport, right? And then from what I was told, that they had removed that one as one of the requirements. Like, hey, just build it.
So it's probably something that you should talk to your contractor about, right?
Check with the city. The city will tell you, because the city's the one who informed me about it. They, when I initially went in there and started asking them, they are the ones who kind of told me about that. They said, hey, if you're going to start, you better start now, because in 2023 this is up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they extended it or not.
Okay.
Because I obtained my permits before. I think they said it was July or August. I think you want to check though.
So it's something good to check out before you start building something. All right, guys, so we made it here to his ADU project, and he's going to show us a little bit about the exterior, the interior. But before we get to those, I had just one last question that I forgot to ask you, is the financing. How does the financing work for something like this?
So typically there isn't really a set financing for building an ADU. There's different types of things you can do. You can always pull I would suggest the number one thing is just to pull a second on your house. As long as you have enough equity in the house, you should be able to pull out a second to build the ADU. And that's probably going to be your best option when it comes to financing it.
That's very cool. All right, so show us around the interior.
Yeah,
see what it looks like. All right, so tell us a little bit about the construction here, what's going on and what area.
So, let me give you the layout of everything. So obviously this is going to be the living room kitchen. It's only 750 square foot. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Living room kitchen area right here. Front door, front entrance right here. And then right back here is actually where all the kitchen is.
This section over here?
Yeah, this section right here behind the camera. So basically we're standing in the kitchen, right? Your kitchen counter is gonna end up, I asked them extend it just a little bit more. It's gonna end right about here and then go all the way across there. You got your stove and your refrigerator right there with more cabinetry.
Nice. Yeah. And again, this is 750 square feet.
750 square foot. That's kind of where your limit is, unless you want to pay quite a bit more for permits and license and the fees and things like that.
Yeah, this is big. Bigger in person when you come in.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all.
Yeah, not too bad.
Right. You can take a look here. Here we have the bathroom, and again, when I talk about doing upgraded stuff, I went cast iron tub. A lot of people just use the fiberglass, very inexpensive. I want something that's gonna last, something I don't have to worry about down the road.
Yeah.
But, standard shower. Here's another thing that you have to know. When building an ADU, you can't do a half bath. It has to be full bath. If you do a half bath, the city won't permit it. It's got to be a full bath, so hence the tub. I initially wanted to go with a half bath. Made more sense, but full bath.
Good pointer.
So this is bedroom 1. The bedrooms are pretty much identical. Just one on the left, one on the right. Here's your closet. Central heating and cooling. You don't have to have central AC. I did have it, again, just maybe for resale value.
Yeah.
Later on down the future.
Some of the special features.
Yeah.
Now that you bring out the resale value, you said that if you as an investor, you did this, right? So 6 to 7 years, this will probably be paid off.
Right.
If you turn around and sold this, how much do you think you would get for something like this?
So again, it's gonna differ. It's gonna bounce around when it comes to those dollar amounts. Everyone's gonna have a different price, right? Contractor, sale, this, that. In this particular project, the ADU is coming out to about 185,000. If I just said, hey, it's done, let me sell it real quick, I'll only get maybe 100 to 125,000 return.
Yeah, so you'll take a loss if you
I'll take a
decide to
loss.
flip it right away.
If I try to flip it right away, I'd take a loss.
But if you own this for the next 6, 7 years, pay it off, and you're gonna resell this property, depending on the markets too, right?
Depending on the market's a big part of it. But if you're just gonna rent it out for the next 6, 7 years, regardless whether you're gonna sell it or not, you should be able to make your money back.
Yeah.
At least with what rent is going for nowadays.
Yeah.
Rent is going extremely high. So last room, again, identical to the first, just flipped on the other side. I went with the, I guess I don't know if this is an important part. This is where details come in. Like, I know who's gonna be staying in here. They don't have children, it's 2 adults. So instead of going with just your standard wood sliding doors for the bedroom closets, I went with glass.
Oh, nice.
They're a little bit more expensive, but it will kind of open up the room a little bit. Something less they'll need to get ready in the mornings. So again, little details like that cost extra, but go a little bit further with your renters.
Very cool. And these rooms are about, what, 10 by 10s?
Yes, the rooms are 10 by 10s. They're not huge. They're on the smaller side, but it's enough. It's enough to get it done.
All right, David. Well, thank you again for showing us around your ADU. Really appreciate it, man. I think you've done a really great job.
Appreciate it.
It looks awesome.
Thank you.
Again, guys, he's a personal friend of mine. Not only is he an investor, but he's also a lender, great lender. He's worked with a lot of my clients. I've helped him out a lot with some of his clients as well. So, David, you want to give him more about your information, with name, where you're located, phone number?
Yeah, we are located in the IE here in Ontario, California. We focus on home loans. If you need any help, we can help you out. I've been in the industry for 20 years. My number is 909-636-2565. And if I'm too busy to help you out, I have a number of loan officers that work for me that can help you out as well. Either way, we'll get it done for you. We'll figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah, or you can connect with me and I can just patch you up to David. Give you the secret bat line. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us here, and we'll see you guys on the next video.